Good day, everyone. Our listeners, our viewers, this is Dr. Kaveh Elahian, your host for Wellness Influencers. Today, we have a fantastic guest, Dr. Paul Reed. He's joining us from Washington. This guy is epic. Anyway, we're going to be talking about a whole lot of issues that surrounds us, especially these days with all the madness going out. Now, Dr. Paul Reed, welcome.
Thank you, Doc. Appreciate you asking me to be on. Looking forward to helping.
Thank you. Doc, with all the, news that we have had as of late, some of us are basically have to stay home and socially distance ourselves. Now, this causes quite a bit of stress.
Right? Yeah.
Give us some means to deal with stress.
Yeah. Give us some means to deal with stress. Well, we all deal with stress, right? Or fear and anxiety. And so we got to learn, I think fear, we need to have faith over fear. And a lot of people, they put fear over faith. And so we need to reverse that model and have faith over fear. But really fear and stress comes from the unknown, right? So we're unsure it's unsure times. Like none of us really know what is happening, what's going to go on. And so that raises our level of anxiety because we don't really know. And the more we understand things, the more that our stress level goes down. It's no different for, when we were going through school and getting out and ready to take boards, right? The more confident we were in our material, the lower our stress level was. The higher it was because, shoot, I didn't put my time in to study and understand that topic. And so my fear and worry and stress and anxiety went up. So it's whatever it might be, you gotta dig in and understand that source. And then the better understanding you have, the less that fear or stress or anxiety is going to be.
Dr. Reed, now it's difficult because you're getting these bombardments of all the information coming on. So how do we sort through them? How is it that we can keep our faith up and make it basically raise above the fear that we have?
I just talked to a good friend yesterday and because we were discussing that exact same thing, like, what do we receive as fact? What is false information? And he said that the worst of the worst isn't going to happen, and the best of the best probably isn't going to happen right now. It's somewhere in the middle, and so it's really just not buying into either source. Again, it's where do you feel? Where do you find your comfort? And just finding that space that keeps you at peace, and not turn the TV off. Jump on your phone if you need a quick update on the status of everything, but don't buy into it and watch it continuously.
Now, with all these latest news that we have had, it has created an immense opportunity for us to reconnect with our family.
Yeah.
I believe this was almost a gift to us to ensure that our family bonds are solid. Now, yeah. What do you do with your family when you're locked down? How is it that you make reconnections and rekindle all those connections?
Well, we just got done exercising a little bit ago. So we have a home gym. So that's one of our means, is we're always doing activities together, where it's exercise or, golf, which obviously we can't do right now. But yeah, so just finding activities that everybody has some interest in, and then, and performing those and doing those. Like I said, we just got done working out a little bit ago, my wife and I, and then my daughter came in shortly after. And so just finding those activities, and, in my opinion, those activities should be promoting or influencing health as well. Last thing we want to do is, while sitting and playing some board games occasionally is fine. But if we do that for hours on end, we're going to go stir crazy. So move as much as you can, find activities together that because movement is life, movement is health. So the more that we move, the more vibrant we're going to be. And the more that we sit, our vibration is going to go down, our tone's going to go down, which means our stress level is going to go up. So the more that we move, we're going to combat that stress as well. So finding activities that everybody has a common thread in, and performing those.
Now, give us, some of our viewers basically have been asking the question as to what does this stress do to our body and ultimately to our systems? Can you walk us down through that?
Man, well, I'm not a scientist by any means, but I do know that all levels of stress affect everything from hormone level to heart function to breathing rates, which are all critical components. We put our basically stress puts your sympathetic nervous system into overdrive. It's like you and I, if we went out and continuous stress is like trying to run a marathon without stopping. Like, it's just terrible over time for the body. A little bit of stress is great. Stress is gonna help build your immunity and push you over to strengthen. But continuous stress without the reprieve or rest and healing is just going to break your body down over time. And I use that with my patients all the time. That's the best example. Is like, hey, if you were to, we're not all Forrest Gump. We can't run continuously all day, every day. And so that marathon without breaking and having water and food and rest is going to, that excessive stress and inflammation is going to break your body down. And so we need to minimize those stresses, whether it's through meditation, prayer, exercise, anti-inflammatory foods, supplements when needed, regular adjustments. All those things are going to help the body combat inflammation and stress and allow you to adapt and respond and pivot and move into the better direction.
Now, with all this stress, what we lose generally is our purpose, because our body gets so overwhelmed with all the inputs that's coming in, we forget about purpose. Yep. How can we elevate our purpose? How can we make that paramount?
So what mine is my quiet time in the morning. So when I do my quiet time, it helps me stay focused on my why and my purpose, and that sets the tone or vibration, right? Which vibration is energy. So it sets the energy or the tone for the day and helps me move forward towards those goals. But if we get out of rhythm, right? Because we turn the TV on first thing and we jump into the news, or we jump on our phone and we're on social right away, it's gonna lower our vibrational tone, and it's gonna get us off our rhythms or our path. And that's gonna, detour us from our purpose, like you're talking about.
So when it comes to relationships, obviously husbands and wife are locked down in a house.
Yeah. Baby boom soon.
This could create, because they are used to being apart for a certain amount of a time during the day. Now they are sitting beside each other.
Right. Yeah.
So what would you suggest that our listeners and viewers do in order to rekindle those lost times that they have not had?
I enjoy being around my bride all the time. So I think it's a blessing for couples to have to be stuck together and rekindle that. So, take some long walks, in the evening, maybe take a bath together, something just to reconnect and reset that fire while you have an opportunity. So that's, again, you're exactly right. This is an opportunity for some people that may have grown apart due to work activities, and now they're stuck at home. And this is a perfect opportunity to rekindle that why you got married. Think back to how many years ago and what that purpose and passion and excitement was, and rekindle it. So
I always tell our practice members that this gives us a perfect opportunity to shift our view from the mayhem onto connections that we can make, people we can help, and communities that we can serve. Mm-hmm. What are some of the suggestions that you have for our viewers and listeners that they can help at this time of a need?
Well, I just saw, we're still adjusting. We're blessed to still be in our practices, but I saw a practice member who's a teacher, and they've been out of school for a couple of weeks already. And she posted that she is, she offered up her time to serve our adult community that's high at risk. And she said, I'll go to the grocery store for you. I'll run errands, whatever you might need. So if you have the time and the means and the capacity to get out of the house and serve somebody else, that's the greatest of them all, is the servant of all. So that's, the more that we serve, the better. And so just seeking opportunities to fill a gap or fill a need for a neighbor, a co-friend, or a family member, jump in and fill that need where there's a hole.
Now, when it comes to chiropractic, you are a champ, sir. So
thank you. I appreciate it.
Give us some breakdown onto how is it that chiropractic could help our communities, our family members, our practice members. How is it that we can be a beacon of hope for everybody?
Man, well, that's exactly, chiropractic. If you go back to the beginning of time, we were a beacon of hope. Whenever there was trauma and mayhem, we step into that gap that we just talked about. And so, we're a place of love and a place of service and a place of gratitude. Rarely do you go into a chiropractic office that is negative and unwelcoming, right? So our communities or our practices are, we feel that we're blessed to take care of everybody we do. And so it's an honor to do that. And so we're that place of hope, right? And we inspire people. We don't give a message of death. We give a message of life, right? And vitality and inspiration. Like, life is great. You have huge opportunities. We're here to help you facilitate achieving the best health that you can through whatever means that we have available. And just an area of support and encouragement. Like people, again, it's unfortunate that they're with us such a short time in our practices. I like to say that, they're outside in the world, all but a couple, 5 minutes in our practice, and the outside world is just negative and gloom and doom and filled with fear and doubt and compromise. And we're that place of hope, like you just said. So it's an encouragement to get in and get a hug, get a smile with that adjustment, and make your day better.
You talked about vibration and energy, which is quite essential for our life as of especially right now.
Yeah.
This
energy
it is. And this vibration and energy is obviously, it's influenced by external environment and internal environment.
Mm-hmm.
So give us some pointers as to how we can basically keep that energy up high and not let outside influencers influence it.
So I have a habit that I learned from mentor forever ago. If I have either a mental thought that is, I don't want to say negative or going to compromise my energy or focus, I just tell myself cancel, right? And the same thing if I, somebody from the outside is bombarding me with negativity, I'll just cancel. This literally, this mentor before, like he said, he would out loud say cancel. And so that's something I learned 20 years ago, from that mentor, was like, if something starts to come in, don't let that seed plant, like cancel it right away. Just emotionally, just like verbally, just cancel, go, like just, eject that out of your being. Cause the last thing we want to do is let that seed plant, right? And then it gets some water from some more negativity, and then it grows into this, weed, I should say, not plant, right? That weed will continue to grow. And so we just got to cancel that out. Focus on the positive, go back to your why and your purpose, right? So immediately shift back to your why you're here on the planet. And that will, that will bring your energy back up and and re-get your vision on where you want to go.
Now, with all these, obviously doing this takes practice, because I always say mind is like a muscle. It's the greatest muscle. You have to work with it in order for it to get strong. Some of the practices that one can do because of the neuroplasticity of our mind and our brain is basically try to implant positive rather than negative.
Yeah.
Now with these, obviously these days it's very difficult to forego the negative and start with the positive. What else can we do? What is it that we can do to make that brain exercise in a positive way?
I think it's everything from what we listen to music-wise, to the TV we're watching, to the books that we're reading, to the people we're hanging out with. So all those are external factors that are influencing our brain chemistry. And when you're around, you can see when you walk into a group and that group is negative, everybody's energy is down, right? And as soon as you unplug yourself from that, move over to a positive group, your energy goes up. And that's just one example. But same thing with music. I can't remember the name of the study forever ago that they did, where they played different types of music around water, and it showed the chemistry of how the makeup of the water changed based on the type of music was played. And so all that stuff is influencing, our chemistry and our brain neuroplasticity, like you talked about. So and we can completely reprogram it, but like you said, it's super hard. It takes practice, takes discipline. And so I would suggest people, even if it's 30 seconds, like just build that habit, right? You can't do 100 push-ups until you do your first push-up. So it's the same thing. You got to do one rep, and then the next day, maybe do a rep and a half, the next day, 2 reps, and just start to build that. And eventually over time, you can reprogram it.
So all the affirmations and basically positive input that you put in, it's like a daily exercise that one needs to do, because you come across these people and say, you know what? I wrote my affirmations and I've been thinking positive. Nothing has happened.
Yeah.
Mindset is huge.
Yeah, it's everything.
How do we tap into, what is the way to tap into that mindset? Because everybody's looking for that easy, quick way out into tapping into the mindset.
There is no easy way. I mean, there absolutely, like, go talk to, Joe Dispenza, another one of our leader chiropractors that is amazing. And he's the king of neuroplasticity and reprogramming. And there is no easy route. It is time and discipline over and over and over again. And yes, you had your affirmations, but if you read them once and then left it, like, absolutely, that's not going to happen. You read them 3 times a day, read them before you go to bed. First thing you get up, think about them all day. What we think about, we bring about. So the more that you're putting energy into those things. And it's not necessarily that we're just thinking about it. So when we think about it, we're internally creating habits to ourselves to perform things to move us closer to that goal, right? So I want to, you're telling yourself, I want to lose weight, right? And then you read that, I want to weigh X amount, and you read that 3, 4, 5 times a day. Well, you're naturally going to want to move more, right? So then that more movement's going to cause you to lose weight. You're going to walk to the refrigerator and you're like, I'm going to choose that apple instead of that cake, right? So because you're programming and keeping it top of mind awareness, your activities that you're doing and performing are going to improve because you're thinking about what you want to do over time.
Our viewers and our listeners, listen, Dr. Reed just gave you an amazing goal. Now, what you think about, you bring about. That is absolute key to this whole thing.
Yep.
So if you think in negativity, negativity will come. If you think positive, doors open. Things change better. And especially nowadays, we don't have no control over what's going on in our external environment, but we can control our internal environment.
The other thing is people really need to, I have found that people aren't self-aware enough to recognize bad habits and or good habits. And so they're so caught up in the immediate day and where they're at. They're not, when doors do open, like you just said, they're not self-aware enough to know that, hey, wait, I've been wanting this in my life. That door behind it is an opportunity to move. It might not be the exact thing I want, but it's one step closer to the thing I want. And like you said, people want immediate gratification. Like I want to go from 0 to 100, and well, it doesn't work that way, right? You gotta go to 2 miles an hour to 3 miles an hour to 4 miles an hour. And so as you build, walking through those doors that open and being self-aware, and then there's times where we have to pivot too. We might think we're going in the exact same direction. A wall, hits us in the face, and that's protecting us for moving, into a further dimension of negativity, and it's going to redirect you to where you should be going. So,
Dr. Reed, I really can't thank you enough for, at this time of a need, you answered the call and you gave us some of your valuable time to sit down and have a conversation with us. In closing, Doc, what do you have, some of the gold nuggets that you can give our viewers and our listeners to practice in these times of needs?
Again, do your quiet time, remember your why, your purpose, connect with your family, move more, right? That's going to help you make today better than yesterday, even if it's 1%. Do something 1% today better than you did yesterday. And that's that constant self-improvement. Again, don't expect miracles overnight. Just keep moving. Know that you're doing the right thing, and it will happen eventually.
Dr. Paul Reed, I am grateful for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you again, and we shall talk another perfect time.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Bye.